The Lord told me that there will be pogroms in the United States. So this was not the first time that God was telling me this. He has said it before, and I shared it. A pogrom is a form of de facto legal killing. It's a genocide. It's a systematic way of wiping out a certain type or a certain part of the population. So it can be along ethnic lines, or it can be along gender lines, or it can just basically be a way of getting rid of undesirables, people who subscribe to a certain group. So it might be Christians, or it might be what God calls sons of freedom. So these are people who are very strong, vocal, and outspoken patriots in a nation. And it's a form of wipe them out style killing. So when you're conducting a pogrom, you're trying to stamp out an entire group of a particular type of person. It's usually government run, or it's government initiated, government funded, or it is highly stoked by the government of that time. And it is targeted, and it is methodical, and it is a form of extermination, as in the group that is targeted will be methodically wiped out of existence. And so the most telling characteristic of a pogrom is that besides the fact that you're going to get masses and masses and masses of dead people, it is seen as a de facto legal action. De facto means that even though something has not been officially passed in the law books, it still takes place. Everybody knows about it, and nobody says anything. And so it has almost the same status as a real law. Now, there will never be any laws on the books officially that allow a government to kill citizens like this, but you can justify having a program if you twist the existing laws to breaking point, and then you also start using mandates and executive orders on top of pushing the law to breaking point. And so, because pogroms can be sometimes very expensive, especially if they're initiated by the government, and because they wipe out so many people in such a short time, you need the kind of laws that enable mandatory searches, mandatory seizures, or seizing things, and mandatory manpower so that you can quickly capture and even hunt down the people that you want to get rid of. Pogroms are almost exclusively done by sitting governments against their own citizens. But the Lord showed me in the dream that the setup in America will be slightly different, because the government of the United States will have private corporate help. The Lord then also told me that the beast system in the United States will exterminate Christians until the number of them is so small that they will have to go into hiding. And indeed, I did see a dream like this about 3 or 4 years ago, where the Lord showed me that people were going to church almost like an underground railroad. So the pastor would preach, and then at the end of the service, there were only a few people, maybe 7 or 8 people in that church that I saw. He would give out the secret location of where the church would meet next. And I saw that this church did this for a while, until there was a mole among them. So the mole gave out the secret information for where the church was supposed to meet next. But because of the goodness and the mercy of God, the pastor was alerted supernaturally by God. So you know, when Jesus was at risk of being killed by Herod when he was born, because Herod says there can be no other king but me, kill all the boys below age 2. Before that edict came out, God warned Joseph in a dream, take the child and flee with him to Egypt, because he is not safe here. There are those who seek his life. And Joseph woke up Mary, and they fled under cover of the night. And that is how Jesus was not murdered when all the other babies were killed. In the same way, God alerted that pastor that the group had been compromised, and so the group had to shift to another location. That is what Christianity is going to be like in the United States. We watch videos now of China and we just can't believe it, but the time is going to come in America where we will have to believe it. For the Lord said that Christians in America will be driven into hiding to preserve their lives. Otherwise, they will lose their lives. America will flow with the blood of its citizens, who will become victims of the state. So if you have heard of other nations that have killed their citizens in officially sanctioned programs until the number of the dead reached the millions, and we now study those things as part of history, God said that this will happen here as well.